Look closely at the new leaves on this tree. At first, the plant can look completely healthy from a few feet away. The leaves are green, the branches are growing, and nothing looks urgent. But when you slow down and look under the leaves, you may find the real problem. Tiny aphids can be hiding along the veins, feeding on soft new growth, curling leaves, making sticky honeydew, and attracting ants. The biggest mistake is spraying once, only hitting the outside of the plant, and then wondering why the aphids come right back. In this video, I will show you the full system I use for aphid control and prevention. We will identify aphids, check the most common signs, remove them with water and pruning, use insecticidal soap correctly, talk about neem-based sprays, stop ants from protecting aphids, use trunk barriers on fruit trees, plant flowers that attract beneficial insects, and build a prevention routine that works for a small backyard tree or a bigger garden. Aphids are small, soft-bodied insects that feed on plant sap. They are usually found on tender new growth, young stems, flower buds, and especially the undersides of leaves. They can be green, yellow, black, brown, red, gray, or even woolly and white. Because they are soft and small, they may not look serious at first, but they can reproduce very quickly when the weather is warm and the plant is pushing soft new growth. One day you may see only a few aphids. A week later, the newest leaves can be covered. Aphids use piercing mouthparts to feed from the plant, and that feeding can cause curled leaves, twisted shoots, yellowing, sticky residue, and weak new growth. Established plants can often tolerate a small aphid population, so you do not need to panic every time you see one insect. The problem becomes more serious when the plant is young, when new shoots are covered, when the leaves are curling tight, when honeydew appears, or when ants begin protecting the aphids. The best way to find aphids is to inspect slowly and look where they actually hide. Do not only look at the top of the leaves. Aphids love protected areas. Check the undersides of leaves, the soft tips of new shoots, the inside of curled leaves, the joints where leaves meet stems, and the backs of flower buds. Common signs include curled leaves, twisted new growth, yellowing, sticky leaves, black sooty mold, white shed skins, and ants walking up and down the plant. The sticky material is honeydew, which is the sugary waste aphids leave behind. Honeydew can make leaves look shiny, and over time it can lead to black sooty mold. Ants are another major clue. If you see ants traveling up a trunk or along a stem, stop and check for aphids. Ants are often there because they want the honeydew. You may also see helpful signs like ladybug larvae, lacewing larvae, hoverfly larvae, or dry swollen aphids called aphid mummies. Those signs mean natural predators are already working. Before reaching for any spray, I start with the simplest control. First, I remove the worst leaves and the worst curled shoots if they are loaded with aphids. Curled leaves can protect aphids from water, soap, neem oil, and predators, so removing the worst areas can reduce the population fast. After that, I use water pressure. Aphids are weak insects, and a firm stream of water can knock many of them off the plant. The important part is angle. Spray from the sides and from underneath, not only from above. Try to hit the undersides of the leaves where the aphids are feeding. I prefer to do this in the morning or later in the day when the sun is not harsh. This gives the plant time to dry and avoids extra stress. For a light aphid problem, water and pruning may be enough. After rinsing, come back and check the plant again in a few days. Aphid control is not one single action. It is a follow-up routine. When water is not enough, insecticidal soap is one of my favorite next steps. I use Southern Ag insecticidal soap concentrate in this garden, but the most important lesson is how this type of product works. Insecticidal soap is a contact spray. It only works well when it directly touches the aphids. If aphids are hiding under the leaves and you only spray the top, you will miss most of the colony. For this concentrate, the label rate is 4 teaspoons per quart of water, but always read the label on your own bottle before mixing. I spray the upper leaves, the undersides, tender stems, and new growth until the problem areas are evenly covered. I do not spray in full sun during extreme heat or when the tree is already stressed. I also avoid spraying open blooms when pollinators are active. Soap can be very effective, but coverage and timing matter more than using extra product. More is not better. Follow the label, use the right rate, and repeat only as directed. Neem-based sprays and horticultural oils are another useful tool, especially for fruit trees or mixed garden problems. A product like Captain Jack's fruit tree spray is based on cold-pressed neem oil and is labeled for aphids and other listed pests. Neem and oils are not magic shields that protect the plant forever. They usually work best when they contact the insects directly, and they often need follow-up applications according to the label. I treat neem and oils carefully because oils can burn leaves if they are sprayed during hot sun or on stressed plants. For 1 or 2 backyard trees, I prefer spot treatment. I inspect the tree, find the problem area, spray only the section that needs help, and check again later. For a larger garden, I do not want to spray everything blindly. I scout first, find the hot spots, and treat only the plants where aphids are building up. This saves time, protects beneficial insects, and reduces stress on the garden. Now let's talk about one of the main reasons aphids keep coming back: ants. Aphids produce honeydew, and ants love honeydew. In many gardens, ants will actually protect aphids from predators because aphids are a food source for them. If you release ladybugs or attract lacewings but ants are still farming the aphids, the predators may not do their job well. When I see ants on a fruit tree, I always look for aphids. To manage ants in garden beds, I prefer contained bait stations instead of spreading anything loose around plants. Sugar borax or sugar boric acid bait can work, but it should be inside a bait station and kept away from kids, pets, wildlife, and edible plant surfaces. Do not sprinkle borax on the soil or on your plants. Ant baits also take patience. A good bait is slow enough for ants to carry it back to the colony. You may not see results the same day, and it can take more than a week to notice a big difference. For fruit trees, one of the strongest ant control tricks is stopping ants from climbing the trunk. A sticky tree banding barrier can help, but it must be used correctly. I do not put sticky material directly on young or thin bark. First, the trunk needs a protective wrap, then the sticky barrier goes on top of the wrap. The goal is simple: ants climb the trunk, reach the sticky band and cannot pass. But the trunk is not the only path. Ants can use bridges. If a branch touches a fence, another tree, a wall, a stake, a net, or tall weeds, ants can bypass the sticky band completely. That is why I check for touching branches and prune or move anything that creates a bridge. Sticky bands also need maintenance. Dust, leaves, and dead insects can build up on the surface and create a path over the barrier. Check the band every week or two, refresh it when needed, and keep the area around the trunk clean. The long-term solution is not just killing aphids, it is building a garden where aphid predators want to live. Ladybugs, lacewings, hoverflies, parasitic wasps, and other beneficial insects can all help reduce aphids. To attract them, plant flowers that provide pollen, nectar, and shelter. Good options include sweet alyssum, yarrow, dill, fennel, cosmos, calendula, buckwheat, sunflowers, and other small flowering plants. Sweet alyssum is especially useful because it attracts hoverflies, and hoverfly larvae feed on aphids. Adult ladybugs are famous, but purchased adult ladybugs often fly away. I would rather create a habitat that encourages beneficial insects to stay. Avoid broad-spectrum insecticides when predators are present. If you see ladybug larvae, lacewing larvae, hoverfly larvae, or aphid mummies, wait and watch before spraying the whole plant. Sometimes nature is already doing part of the job. Your role is to protect the helpful insects and only step in when the aphid population is getting ahead of them. One more important point is that aphid control should match the size of your garden. If you only have one small fruit tree, the best plan is simple. Inspect the new growth, remove the worst curled leaves, spray with water, block the ants, and spot spray only the affected branches if needed. Do not turn one small problem into a full yard spraying project. If you have several trees or a big vegetable garden, use a scouting routine. Walk the garden with a pattern. Check the newest growth first, then the undersides of leaves, then the stems close to flowers and fruit. Mark the plants that actually have aphids and leave the clean plants alone. This keeps the garden healthier because you are not spraying beneficial insects that are already helping you. When you use any spray, water, soap, neem, or oil, the target area matters. Aphids are not usually sitting out in the open waiting for you. They are tucked under leaves, inside curled tips, and close to tender stems. Turn the nozzle upward. Move slowly. Let the spray reach the underside. After treatment, do not assume the job is finished. Come back in 2 or 3 days and inspect the same area. If the leaves are clean and predators are showing up, stop and monitor. If colonies are still building, problem, repeat according to the product label or use another low-risk method. Good aphid control is usually a sequence. Inspect, remove, rinse, control ants, spot treat, and follow up. Aphid control also changes with the season. In spring, new leaves are soft and aphids can build quickly, so scouting needs to be more frequent. In summer, heat stress can make sprays more risky, so timing becomes even more important. Early morning or evening is usually easier on the plant than the middle of a hot sunny day. After rain or overhead watering, look for sticky leaves and curled tips because aphids may still be hiding even when the plant looks freshly washed. On fruit trees, keep checking the trunk and lower branches for ants because the ant trail often tells you where the aphid problem is before you notice the damaged leaves. Once you learn the pattern, you can catch outbreaks while they are still small. For prevention, think about plant stress. Aphids often take advantage of soft, fast growth and stressed plants. Water deeply and consistently, but do not keep leaves wet all day. Mulch helps keep soil moisture more stable. Prune crowded growth when needed so air can move through the plant. Avoid pushing too much fast growth with heavy fertilizer. Healthy plants are not invisible to aphids, but they recover better and usually need less intervention. A balanced garden with flowers, predators, and regular inspection is much easier to manage than a garden where every problem is handled only after the outbreak becomes huge. Here are the biggest aphid control mistakes I see. The first mistake is spraying only the top of the leaves. Aphids are usually underneath, so the spray must reach the underside. The second mistake is spraying once and never checking again. Contact sprays only hit what is present that day, and new aphids can appear later. The third mistake is ignoring ants. If ants are protecting aphids, the problem can come back even after you spray. The fourth mistake is using too much nitrogen fertilizer. Heavy nitrogen can push soft, tender growth that aphids love. The fifth mistake is relying on random homemade sprays like sugar water or strong baking soda mixtures on leaves. Sugar belongs in contained ant bait, not on plant leaves. Baking soda can damage foliage if it is too strong or used too often. My prevention routine is simple. Inspect new growth every week, wash off small colonies early, remove badly curled leaves, control ants, protect beneficial insects, avoid over-fertilizing. Keep air moving through the plant. Use insecticidal soap or neem only when needed and always follow the label. Do not panic when you see a few aphids. Find them early, hit the undersides, stop the ants, and your garden will be much easier to protect. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next garden video.